Hello, my name is Nick Iannotta. Today we'll be looking at a full assessment of myself. So today we did several things. We will be looking at static postures, anterior, two lateral views, and a posterior view of myself. Then we will get into four different tests, dynamic tests, to really find out those muscular imbalances and see what's going on. We will be doing the star excursionic test. We will be doing the single leg squat assessment. We'll be doing the overhead squat assessment, and we will also be doing the Davies test. Okay, so the first test we're going to go over is the static postural assessment. We will be looking for several things in this test. We will be looking for upper cross syndrome, lower cross syndrome, and pronation distortion disorder. We could also tie into Jonda's distortion disorder, which would be a tie into all three. So the person would have upper cross syndrome, the person would have lower cross syndrome, and the person would have pronation disorder. So I'm going to summarize quick what we will be looking for. So we will be looking for upper cross syndrome. We will be looking for the forward head tilt. Upper trapezius may be tight. Very common in people that spend a lot of time on the computers. People call it tech neck because their sternocleidomastoid from all the leaning over, their sternocleidomastoid gets tight, their longus colli is weak, and that will cause that head carriage to shift forward. If it happens for too long, it is common that it could be a a forced closure, I'm sorry, forced closure where those vertebrae will start to mold together to be able to make up for the compensation of holding the head forward. Then we will go into lower cross syndrome, so we'll be looking for the Donald Duck syndrome, the butt sticking out. This is where the iliopsoas is tight, the adductors are weak, the erector spinae is tight, and the glutes are weak. So you'll be getting the butt shifting out, um, the lumbar vertebrae start to pinch on the nerve, so some people will get that pinching in their lower back, and that's what that will consist of. And then pronation distortion disorder is where the you get knocked knees, your femurs start going in from tight adductors, weak glutes, your tibia start going out, so they'll make almost a V shape, and that's really how people get bunions. You start to have the excess amount of force on your medial ankles, and it will start compensating for and then the bone will start to form to hold the person up. So next, some things pop out to me would be the pronation distortion disorder. It's in my seems like my right leg is either shorter or tighter. I don't really know. It always tends to be a little bit forward. That could be because my gastrocs are tight. I have knee internal rotation. My anterior tibialis is weak and lengthened. My IT bands were tight. My adductors are tight. It's kind of pulling in my femurs right here. They're kind of on that inward angle. So my adductors are very tight. My IT band is tight. Uh, Definitely my biceps femoris is very tight. And yeah, I really need to start stretching out my calves, my hamstrings, my quads, adductors especially. It's starting to develop that pronation distortion disorder. Okay, the next test will be the squat assessment. We'll be looking for several different things. The right way to do the overhead squat assessment is assume a proper squat position with arms fully extended overhead and complete roughly 5 reps. If they're doing it atrociously, don't even make them do the whole 5 reps. Okay, so you're going to evaluate muscular imbalances and neuromuscular control. Here we're going to be looking for several conversations. We're going to be looking for lower back arches, lower back rounding, excessive forward lean, arms falling forward, feet flattening out, feet turning out, heels rising off the floor, asymmetric weight shifts. We'll be looking for all of those compensations when we do these tests. So that's why you want a couple views, get their muscles tired, and see what's really going on with them. All right, so the first dynamic assessment we're going to looking forward to is the overhead squat assessment. So as we talked about the compensations, we will see definitely a few in this video. So let's get it on. All right, so as I start, my feet are pointing a little bit outward, foot came off the ground a little bit. Knees are pointing outward right there, definitely. And this is the dramatic one. Whew. Big forward lean tilt. Lower back is arching a little bit, as we talked about the lordosis that I got. Here I see a little asymmetric weight shift. I'm going down to this right side. As we talked about it, my QL is tight, and there we see that Jurassic lower back arch right there. Oh, lower back arch. And I almost fell over. So, as we can see there, we can see a bunch of stuff. So with the lower back arch, you can see my hip flexors are tight, my erector spinae is tight, my lats are tight, my glutes are weak, hamstrings are weak. As we see, my foot turns out, my soleus is overactive, my gastroc is underactive, um, biceps femoris is overactive, gracilis is underactive. What else is wrong with me? Okay, so my asymmetrical waist shift on that right side, I was kind of leaning. My adductor complex, we talked about, is very tight. I need to start stretching my adductors. My glutes are weak. It seems like glutes are a very common problem with myself. So definitely going to keep working on strengthening the glutes. All right, so the next one we're going to look at is the single leg squat assessment. Here we're going to be looking for several things. We're going to be looking for hip hikes, hip drops, knees moving inward, torso rotates inward, torso rotates outward. So for this one, we're going to evaluate a unilateral body control because it's only going to be single leg. You're going to squat almost as you're doing a pistol squat. You're going to go about 3 to 5 reps. If it's absolutely atrocious, as always, stop before they hurt themselves. And yes. Okay, so the second movement assessment we are going to do will be the single leg squat assessment. So let's get into it. Alright, so right now I'm looking right in this area. It's not too bad right now. Still not too bad. And right there was atrocious. Looks like a boom. I'm leaning over to that one side. Okay, yep. So my right here is gonna come from my right ankle sprain when I was very young. I could see that weight shifting to the left side and shifting to my strong side. That right side hip is hip hiking. My left side right here is hip dropping. A little torso rotates outward. Let's see. Yeah. That right side, boom, it's moving to the left side. It's moving to the stronger side. Hip hike on that right. My torso is rotating. And here we go. Keep going to that strong side. My right ankle is the one that is weak. It's been sprained a bunch of times through baseball, rugby. There we go. So for the hip hike, looking at the QL. QL is very tight, as I was talking about earlier. My QL is tight. It is going down. It is kind of hunching over and very shrinking that right side gap. My adductor complex is weak. My glutes are weak. I've already known this. I've been working on my glutes extremely hard. That hip drop, my adductor complex is tight. My glutes are weak. And that's the main ones I've been looking at. My gastroc is underactive, may lead to that valgus knee. So the next test that we will look at is the Davies test. So for the Davies test, this was a very challenging one for me. Arms should be 36 inches apart, same standard push-up position, keep the core tight and do not sway hips. You don't want to, when you're moving arm to arm, touching arm to arm, you do not want to sway your hips. You want to keep that core locked and you do not want to rotate. Alright, so here's my 3 attempts at the Davies test. 30-second timer is on, so let's get it on. Alright, so first Davies test, I was not really used to the procedure. I was trying to go as quick as possible to avoid that shift that I am seeing right now. As you can see, every single time I'm shifting my whole weight in order to compensate. Weak core, 30 seconds, that was very tough. Next test, going over, oh, almost fell over there. As you can see, still heavily compensating. I tried my best on this one to really keep that, oh, that was a pretty good one. Tried to keep the core tight. Compensations that we are looking for in this is lower back sagging, shoulders elevating, scapular winging, lower back rounding. All that good stuff. Looking to see what's going on. Let's see my third test. Third test, we get a little side view. Still very much compensating, swaying to one side, swaying to the other. Almost fell over again. Uh-oh. Yep, lifting the feet off the ground. Yeah, this is a very hard test. So, some muscles are definitely the obliques, the external abdominals, internal abdominals are definitely not as strong as they should be. Glute medians are a little weak. I can't hold that position. Keep shifting the hips. Yeah, I have to get better at getting that core tight and staying, keeping my shoulders even. All right, for the last test, would be the star balance excursion balance test. This was a fun one to try. First time I tried it. So what we did was we laid out tape with approximately 6 spots that we were trying to hit. You would bend at one knee and try and reach as far as possible with your leg that's not being tested. So let's see what happens. All right, so here we go. On the left side, we will see my left foot go first. And let's see what's going on with my left. Okay, trying to reach as far as possible. Yep, a little bit of hip hike. On that right side, my hip keeps hiking. Right there. Right in here. Hip is hiking. I could see that arch. It almost looks like a V right in there. Knee is starting to point outwards. Up, almost fell over there. And then finally I'm trying to reach for that last one. Alright, so that one was pretty good. Mainly the one thing I noticed was the hip hike. The knee was turning out. Feet were a little bit out. As we could say, the soleus is overactive. The gastrocs are underactive. And yeah, we'll go with that for that left one. See what's going on with the right. Okay. Try to reach as far as possible. Okay. Balance. This time I think I'm shifting more to my right side, trying to keep that balance. Hip is dropping on that left a bit. Knee keeps going outward. My biceps femoris is looking overactive. My adductor complex is looking underactive. That's why my knees are going outward. So those are muscles I need to work on.